Okay, welcome to Brave Indigenous Conversations with Joan Jack. Really, really, really happy that you're here today. If you're listening live, and if you're listening to the recording, so happy you're doing that. And my request is that you share this whenever you're listening. Share it if you're listening live, share it if you're listening to the recording. And I'd like to start, as we always do, with a bit of reading. Oh, look at that. Kukumanange, spider landed on me. Okay, brave Indigenous space. Together we will create brave space because there is no such thing as safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify, excuse me, excuse me, there's a frog in my throat. I know. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. That was written by Mickey Scott B. Jones, who is a Black woman from the United States. And if you Google her name, you'll see that she's gone to the spirit world. She made a lasting contribution to the world.
Hmm.
And then the next thing we do is we introduce ourselves because in our culture, as an Anishinaabe anyway, for sure, we introduce ourselves. We don't have, anyways. So I'm just going to invite Roxanne to introduce herself.
Hi, good morning, good day. It's actually almost afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. I'm glad to be here. I am currently sitting in my home in Bacon Ridge, Manitoba, which is non-status Métis side of Ebb and Flow First Nation.
Mm,
And I just moved home at the end of March, so I'm really excited. And I identify as a non-status Métis, and that is who I am, and this is where I'm from. And I know it makes some people crazy that creature does not exist, but you're looking at her. So yeah, so that's yeah. And I'm a mom of two. My daughter's in Toronto. My son lives an hour down the road. And a grandmother of two from my son and daughter in law, who are the joys of my life. And yeah, that's where I am today and what I'm doing.
cool.
Nice.
All
Good.
right, Annette.
Okay, Annette, Alix, Roussin, Nishnikaz,
Hey.
Baron's River Doing, Alix Enterprise, and Forever Evolving Nindanoki.
Ah.
I've been practicing that, and I'm a passive language learner. I don't speak fluently, and can get really triggered when I'm trying to practice it. So, but that's
Mm,
okay. I am a published author now, and thank you inviting me to the podcast, your Brave Indigenous podcast. And I'm sitting here with our special guest too. Nice to meet you, Roxanne.
Thank you.
I've listened to you and Joan a few times now on the podcast. What else? I am a Heal Your Life coach and former, I'm sort of retired, semi-retired therapist. I'm trying to retire, but life is good. I live. You mentioned where you live right now. I'm living like at the north of in Winnipeg, at the end North Main Street, right beside Shooter's Golf Course. And we live in a nice trailer back here, and I'm completely happy being
mm,
back at the outskirts of Winnipeg, which is Treaty One territory, right?
mm.
I'm learning to be respectful of our land too, where I sit. And I am a registered citizen of Barons River. Me we sipping.
Mimi with sleeping.
Me we.
Mimi
Yeah, oh me we sipping. I
sleeping.
got to work on that
Yeah.
one. Anyways, I'm looking forward to learning and growing and being with you today. So
Taganishnabe mo, Virginia.
Oh, my turn?
yeah.
Yeah, Anishinaabe mo.
Okay. Um, Virginia McCain, the Shinikas, may music being Donji, and I'm a kokum, and Bejigo ni Janis, Guzis, Chico Bejigo noses. I'm very proud grandmother.
Mm.
Gischine and Dan, Gischine and Dan, Kukumian, and I, niwi chiwag kay ak gagwe pangik kinamawag dan anisnabe muin
Mm.
giwan iton kega
Mm.
ekiskuliwian na i residential school
Mm.
and inabe mo kinawema unawe di kwewa Joan shigum Annette
Mm.
their mother ano mama iwan inabe mo ki pesyo kinaweman
Mm.
and Aing she contact nung with education.
Mm.
Kinoma gawin na board ni
Mm.
Wida mag the more gaushki viwat
Mm.
the
Mm.
bias the nika can down about politics
Mm.
and nito ke ini mo si pagush toma cause eki Annette she go na pay man eki beach I am a god for 2 nights last night she go nongom tipikak ngana sheki we biswapag sko
Mm.
kami kisya kawaing to siya in graduation
Ah.
what
Mm.
9 o'clock
Mm. Mm.
siya pawagak and after that gonna kiwe
Oh.
drive gravel road first which it took 3.5 hours.
Mm. Cool. Let me see how much I understood because I too am
Okay.
always in the process of reclaiming our language. So, Auntie Ginny explained that. Well, I'm just going to do it in the order that's coming into me. It's not the order that she spoke, but she explained that her husband, who's gone to the spirit world, is my mom's relative, and that he uh, it was interesting the word how it made me feel like as if he looked after us as his relatives. That's how it occurred for me, that word that you used, and that you are sitting on the education board for you didn't say this, but it's for Barons River First Nation education,
Yeah. Yeah.
with other people that are making like decisions about education. And you said you were going to be driving home after two days tomorrow evening. Um, after Are you driving home after the grad at 9 at night or in
No,
the morning?
no.
Morning. Okay. I didn't catch whether it was. You said you were driving home in the evening, and I thought, yo, she's going to be driving at midnight or 1 in the morning. So the grad is in the day, and then you're driving home at night. What else did you say? Oh, you love being a grandmother, and you have one son, and I'm not sure if you identified your grandson in the context of gender, um, but you did say you had a grandchild anyway. Um, that's all I remember. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Miwe,
Mm-hmm.
miwe. Yeah.
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 Oh, hi.
I want to
Yeah.
step in here too, and I I forgot to acknowledge I do have one son
Mm,
with a fiance that live in Vancouver, and I have two daughters, my husband's daughters, that I've been their stepmom for many years now. So I want to acknowledge that too. And no, I have a granani mush.
A granddaddy mush.
I got a picture of him yesterday. He's
Yeah.
and his name is Coda.
Yeah. So, well, I guess what's emerging is we're going to acknowledge others in our family. So I'll do that as well. So I am the spouse of Watsayet is his Tlingit name. We've been married for 31 years now, and I have three birth children. And then one of the things Brian and I have done over the years is foster many, many children, and several of them still, by their choice and our welcome heart, still consider us their parents, and we're standing in the place of their parents, obviously, but or standing with their parents. But so I've got at least at least three, if not four, that depending if they're drunk or sober, call me mom. And then for grandkids, I have five now. And so we've got Nicholas, the oldest, and then Elena, Grayson, Rowan, and Damien. And so I have five grandkids now, and it's pretty amazing to be a grandparent, all right. And it's funny. Our mom and where I'm sitting is in Tlingit country, and we're sitting at our camp on the Nakano River, which, for those of you listening, is about 100 air miles south of Whitehorse, Yukon, and about 50 air miles inland from Juneau, Alaska. So we're in the very top northwestern corner of Canada, and this is Tlingit country. And we're here at camp, and it's only accessible by helicopter or if you walk. And back in the day, I used to walk. Brian and I walked many, many years with the kids. I can't even believe we did that. That's so psycho. Anyway, so yesterday the helicopter arrived with our mother. I have one sibling, one sister, and one brother. And so our mom is 84, and the queen arrived yesterday. She did the queen wave for us.
Yeah, I showed Auntie Ginny the video.
Yeah,
She
she
got
got off the helicopter, and she sat with us in the kitchen, and then she went and had a nap, and then she came back up, and then she sat with me after supper for an hour or so in my little bedroom here, and really, really nice having her here. Really, really amazing having her here. Just such an inspiration that at 84 she'd be willing to get in a helicopter and fly into the bush, and you know yeah, she was telling me yesterday that we help her somebody well Presley helped her going down the hill to her tent, and then she woke up from her nap and she thought, well, I could make it up. She thought I could make it up, without help. So away she comes. She started, and right at that last 2 feet is very steep, like probably the angle, like it's quite steep. It's got steps there, but it's steep. And Brian has made homemade steps out of the mud, and so she said, I got on the first step and then I started to teeter, and I thought, oh no, I'm gonna fall over. But then Presley saw her and he came, I guess he came running. She didn't say that part. But she said, next thing you know, Presley's arm was on my arm, and boy, we made it the last part. So we take care of each other out here. Someone's always watching.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit about my family. Today, we invited you, Annette, to come and be with us for the hour that we have here, and talk about your book some more, because I've actually read it now, and there'll be an Amazon link in somewhere. My Jeff Harris is no, not Jeff Harris. Jeff Harris is a lawyer. Jeff is his name. He'll be putting a link to the Amazon where people can buy the book. And so, do you want us to share our impressions first, or
Yeah.
okay?
And so, thank you for showing up and reading the book. Thank you very much. Uh,
Mhm.
because I know I know that not everybody reads a book they buy.
Mm.
And then also, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So feedback, support, in like just yeah, I'm open.
Let's start. I'll go last. We'll go Roxanne, Auntie Jenny, and then me.
Okay.
Okay, Roxanne,
It
what happened for you?
I enjoyed it. It was not what I expected.
Okay.
And that was nice. That was a nice thing that it's not your typical book, put it that way. I don't want to give it away, but it's not what you typically expect. And that was a nice surprise. I like what I enjoyed, well, your honesty but the way you were able to share experiences in a good way, bad experiences in a good way. I think because not usually, often I am triggered and I
Mm,
recognize it now. I used to just throw a book aside and say, I don't like that book. Now I recognize, oh, that's why I don't like that book. And so this one didn't trigger me as much, but yet you still covered so much of what is a common experience for many of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really appreciated that, and I liked how you used the four directions. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was also, it's done, but not this way, and that's what I mean by it's not expected. And so I really appreciated that. And I've been getting really stingy with it because often I'll share my books and pass them on, especially in my immediate family, my sister, my nieces and nephews. We're all readers, thank goodness. Because I am a librarian, and that's how I started my career many, many years ago. And goodness, almost 40 years ago. Anyways, um, so we're all readers. And so I really appreciated um, like what it was not expected in how that it was not your typical written book. Okay. So people go buy the book. I'm not telling you what I mean by that. So
and
I'll
did you tell
probably
your sister go buy your own?
almost, but no, it's her daughters who are like, my sister reads, but it's actually my nieces who are the big readers, and two of them I know would enjoy it, and they've even put it out there in our family chat. I'd really like this book sometime, knowing full well I'll go buy it for them.
The hints are being planted, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even hints are in your face about it. But I'll probably be purchasing more for them. And so, yeah, no, I really enjoyed that, in talking about and how you covered topics, like I said, that are difficult and can be triggering. Sitting in a church and going through that, like, I don't know. I do now, but that took a long time to be able to sit in a church and not be traumatized. I did not attend residential school, but I was in what's considered a day school, and but the day school is not recognized as such. But that's what it was. So those kinds of things I appreciated in reading in reading this your book. So I still had to put it down and walk away, but not in anger. It was, I did that to absorb what I was reading and think about it. Because there's times in other books where I've been triggered, and I know I posted that one I read. Um, it took me months, and I don't know why I put myself through that. After, I was thinking I didn't have to finish that book. Like, all it did was trigger me. And so this one didn't do that, or didn't do it in such a way where I was in pain. It made me think, and I appreciated that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, we grateful for your kind words.
How can you, Auntie?
Okay.
Mm.
I I kinigego gekidut Roxanne. Mi beige gun gainin. Ik me shit. I call them my nieces,
Mhm.
and so sage sie gehen, sag don't gainin masanagan.
Mhm.
She go gawin ni I don't want to pass it on. That's to to anybody except I my daughter-in-law. We pass books to one another, but I give her back what I read, and she gives me back, you know, when I lend her. So I know it's safe. So niwawi kim chawi kuta, and yeah, anyway, it hit nipo keko ni ma Annette kahit katashintang, you know,
Mm.
tash kenin iwe ngi bishop matis. Yeah, when I was young, it was got this yeah, and apane ka uyo ka cook when I became a grandmother ka cook kumian. I I see I pakandi si kanawa pandan si ko nanin kay gisip matis yan kipan. And now our culture kaki pisong pikian kay ninipuan ki tamper si kiwe no tagon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Try and share what you were saying, because some of the language, of course, I got it, but some of it, some of those bigger words I didn't really get. So try and share with us in English for our English listeners what
Which
What you
well,
said, some
just
of what you
generally what you said, some of what you said. Like
okay,
what you want, let me try, and then you can fill in where I miss, okay?
okay.
So Um, Auntie started by saying that she felt the same way as you, Roxanne. That it really hit, like not hit, but like it. There was a word there that I'm going to listen to this video after and get some more understanding about how it like came into her, like it touched her, and also that she too doesn't want to share it with anyone, and she's generally lends her books except for her daughter-in-law. I think you said, her sister, no,
My
daughter-in-law. Yeah,
daughter-in-law.
daughter-in-law, because
Nishimid.
she's good at returning the books. And now that when she became, she was angry too a lot, and now that she's become a grandmother, she sees things from a different perspective. And uh, I forget what else you said. What did I miss?
Uh, that's pretty well. You
Yeah. Okay. Maybe
kinigay
we'll have some.
kinigay
Maybe,
gikin sa tutan.
okay.
Joan kinigay gikin sa tutan.
Oh, wow. Okay. She said I understood everything. Well, generally, I always tell people at home, don't talk about me because I
yeah,
understood.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
understood like that the daughter-in-law and that
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I'll tell you a little story in
Okay.
English.
Oh.
Uh, I used to take Brennan, my grandson, to Winnipeg when he was just small, eh? And he must have been about maybe 2 years old. And we came in and I was shopping for Christmas. And anyway, we were in a hurry, of course, in them days before we had the all-weather road.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a winter road, and we had to cross Lake Winnipeg at the Narrows. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, we stopped on our way out of town. We stopped at Superstore, and I was sort of in a hurry, picking up odds and ends. And I mean, I had him in the cart, and this guy was ahead of me. He was and he had his cart too, and short little guy, and ouch. Anyway, And everywhere I turned, he turned the same way, like you. And it happened about maybe 3 times. So I said in my language, I, oh, this maybe I better not say what it was. It was some a racial.
Slur.
But I just so and so is boy, the so and so is in my way. But I
Yes.
said it in my language, and he stopped, and yeah, he turned and he said, "Kinistutun siya."
I understand you. I could just
Oh,
realize.
I said, "I'm so sorry." I said, "I thought you were this some culture." Eh? Oh, that was embarrassing. So
Well, this
there
is
you
all
go. You
good.
never know.
Yeah.
I went in Giabi and Shinabe, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, no, that's great. It's all perfectly contextual to what Annette has written in her book. Oh, the queen's here now. Hang on. Oh, okay.
Hi,
There's me.
Mom.
No.
Oh, no, no. Can you go get a? Can you go get a chair for Cookham, please? So that we're on the podcast, Shago Jiniama, Maki, and my friend Roxanne.
Hi.
You see?
Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I see Mark. Hi.
Hi. Hi,
Hi.
Mama.
I don't recognize anybody. Oh, there you and I are at the top, eh? Yeah.
That's the part I'm seeing right now.
Oh,
So I'm glad that Auntie Ginny's here. Like this is so spiritual too, eh? Like everything
yeah,
happens just perfectly.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's just perfect. And
Hey,
then Mom
hi.
is here. And I didn't ever ask. Like I saw Auntie Ginny bought my book. She supported me, and bought the book. But I didn't ask her, did you read it? Like, so I haven't talked with her about it. So this is the first time I'm starting to hear. So I'm glad
Mm,
we have more time together too,
mm,
because I know I think that Auntie Ginny's mom's bestest friend.
mhm.
So so she knows everything that you know everything about each other. And as I wrote the book, I tried to be really respectful. Like respect was at the forefront of what I was trying to do,
Mm, mm,
and yeah, so
mm.
it was very important for me
Nice.
to not do more harm
Right.
because we've all been harmed,
Mm, mm.
yet tell my story.
Yeah. So have you read Annette's book yet?
Not till
Can't
after the
see, eh?
cataract
Oh, yeah.
surgery.
She's waiting for cataract surgery. Yeah. Maybe one of the things I can do while you're here is read to you aloud,
Right,
eh?
yeah.
I could read to everybody, actually. I love reading aloud.
So-
Okay, I want to go and say what
Okay.
I got. Okay. I got to take my gum out of my mouth again. Okay. I did mark. Well, I didn't read it right away. I bought it right away. In fact, I bought several copies and gave them away right away. I knew it would be good. Um, and I know that basically identity and self determination are at the crux of things, you know? So I was happy you did this. And then I carried it around. That's kind of a process I have with things. I carry them around, like literally physically with me. I would put it in my suitcase when I went to Winnipeg. I would put it in my suitcase when I went to Ottawa. I would, so I carried it around for quite a while. And now in this moment I'm realizing that's part of the process too. Because when it hit me, the time to read it hit me, I wanted it to be there, because I know that's what would happen is that I would suddenly feel about anything in life. Oh, I got to do that now. So I wanted to be ready. And then when we got down here, we got down river April 15th, And not long after I got down here, oh, I got to read Muck's book now, Annette's book now. So I did. I read it in 3 hours. I read right through it. I didn't have any urge to write anything. But I'm just going to talk about that for a second. Um, like in the book, there are spaces for you. I'm
That's
just
what I did.
there are spaces in for you to engage with what she's sharing, and so I don't know if I will ever do that, but if I want to do that, it's there, you know. And maybe you can talk a bit about that after, Mark, about the publishing challenge you had. And then the other thing I loved was that this is another difference. Throughout the book, there's these little gray little squares featured, and I love those. But I assumed when I saw them without reading it that they would be highlighting something you said in the text, because
No,
that's generally how they're used too. But nope, it's
no.
something completely different in the little box. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, so you just really, the way you formatted it really created an opportunity for me to engage and be a contribution to the writing, by making sure I the first time I read a little gray box, and then I realized it didn't highlight the text. I was like, what the heck? Does she do that every time? And I just was keeping, and it's like that. So, some may be highlighting text, but some aren't. So I really love that. And then I'll keep talking about my structural things. I got this one without reading it. That at the end of the book, there's a notes page where Annette lists all her, not all, a bunch of different links and references. And then there's a bibliography. And like that blew me away because I'm doing some other work right now, contributing to a contract around sharing who we are as people with other people. And I said to them, you need to all buy my sister's book and read it. And at the back of it, there's like, I don't know how many books are listed. And if my memory serves me, like 90% of those are Indigenous authors talking about whatever they're talking about. And I think a lot of it's health related. And so, well, it's all health related. So, and then there's an appendix with questions to guide your reflection. I'm like, this book, Annette, is such a contribution. Because when I was a student, you'd have to search all the way to hell and back to even find 30 years ago a published Indigenous author, for one thing. But there's been a big explosion of Indigenous writing in the last 25 years, 30
Mm.
years. I mean, there was the odd book like, oh, I can see the cover. Like there was the odd, like Harold Cardinal wrote a book, and there were the odd books back then, but it was very few. And now a student today can buy this book, and all the research is done for them right there. Well, not
Mhm.
all, a significant amount of research
Yeah,
is done.
yeah.
So huge contribution to the student body, Indigenous or otherwise. So that's really amazing. Now I only wait, wait. I only bent down the page, the book in two places, and I want to see what I highlighted the structural implications of the history of the indigenous. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna start again. Somebody came in, so I got distracted. The structural implications of the history of the Indian residential schools are overlooked as a result of and result in diagnoses being transformed into individual pathological diagnoses in mental health and illness. I want to read that again. The structural implications of the history of the residential schools are overlooked and result in diagnoses being transformed into individual, like something wrong with you, pathological diagnoses in mental health and illness, when really it's the structural, I'm talking now, really it's the structural, the, the, the legalized and structured racism in this country that has caused us to be unwell.
Mm.
It's not that there's something, and it's not even wrong. Mental health is not wrong, but it's not that it's not my, I didn't cause, like, it's not
Yeah,
me.
we've internalized that.
Yes,
I've internalized that,
yes. And you
which,
talked about
yeah,
that as well.
yeah.
And so I want to just go to another part. This is a short one. It's page 142. I come from a culture that is non directive and very moment centered, as demonstrated in this podcast when Mom walked in, or as demonstrated when we were preparing. And you said, "Hey, Auntie Ginny's here. Maybe, maybe she'd like to join us." We come from a culture as an Anishinaabe that is non-directive and very moment-centered. Are you sleeping?
I'm listening.
Okay. And Mom is leaning her head on my shoulder for those of you listening on Spotify. Let me just flip through. I got another couple of highlighted places. My culture is very accepting, and we are left to be who we are meant to be and want to become. It is our own choice and path to follow as we so choose. I know my family and community as my collective embraces me as I am. I am, and I am part of a whole. I just want to read that again
Mm.
because that's not the experience of non Anishinaabe people. My culture is very accepting, and we are left to be who we are meant to be and want to become. It is our own choice and path to follow as we so choose. I know my family and community as my collective embraces me as I am, and I am part of the whole. And some words in our language, like when I was in law school, I looked for concepts that matched the white law, like self determination, which is in the title of your book, is I understood after talking with probably Auntie Ginny, Mom, Dad. I used to phone Albina Desbro, different Gina, different fluent speakers, just because I would talk to 4 or 5 fluent speakers, and after talking to several people, I would get an understanding of the concept, you know. And the concept of self determination, I believe, for me anyway, is represented in the word independentes,
Mhm.
independentisnin. I am responsible for myself, you know. And dependentism, which is the concept that we are all responsible for each other, is what you've captured in articulating your identity, you know, that no matter what someone does, we may not approve. We may not approve. But as an Anishinaabe, there's very, very few people that we reject completely.
Mhm.
You know, we set up internal structures and boundaries to keep ourselves safe, and or we should, you know, and but we everybody is still remembered as a part of the whole.
Mhm.
And I just love that. That's so powerful. Another one here. I remember I am strong, smart, brave, funny, generous, and kind. These are all attributes that come from my cultural teachings. They have been not taken away, and they are in my DNA.
Mhm.
And so, and we have ways of keeping, like, to me that sentence may not occur for others as humility, but it does occur for me as humility. That, and so we always would, we I always used to hear as a kid, kego kitchenin dazoken, you know, like, don't think you're all that, like, don't think you're one of us, like you're one of the whole, you know. And when someone would try to get away too far, it's like, no, kego kitchenan does, you know, like, I am you and you are me within our collective, eh? Man, I could go on and on. There's so much in your book, Muck. but I'm just going to do a time check. Okay, we've got 20 minutes left in our hour. Um, I'd like to invite Mom to say anything if she wanted to about anything because we can't leave anybody out. Ginny was talking Soto a bit at the
Yeah.
beginning if you wanted to as well.
Okay.
Huh. Walang kitas.
Okay, Win.
Are you crazy? I said, hear you then. She said, are you crazy?
I'm Stella McKay. That's my maiden name. I was married, and then when I got legally divorced, I felt the strong urge that I needed my name because I never felt complete. Like I'd lost myself by losing my name. So I paid for my. No, I didn't have to pay because it was free. If you changed back to your maiden name, there was no charge. So I did that. I said, great. And I didn't want a name like, a movie star name or anything. Anyway, getting down to basics. My first reaction to joining this podcast was spirit driven, was totally out of my control. I finished my cup of coffee and I thought, well, what am I sitting here for? Nobody's here. Then I had a jacket that I'd borrowed from Joan and her name, or Harley Davidson jacket. And I thought, well, I'm not going to buy her a bike. So I brought it back to her and I thought, well, I guess that's why it wasn't a jacket that brought me here. It was you drawing me. And I had no idea who was going to be the guest, except I had, kind of put in the back of my mind that it was Annette's podcast and Joan's. But the rest of you, I'm so thrilled to see you all. And to summarize it, I realized that, oh God, I'm going to have to say something now. So I thought, well, once you start talking, you can't stop. So I'll start, but I'll
He'll stop.
I'll focus. I'll focus.
Okay.
Anyway, my first reaction to this was, yeah, I wanted to read the book, and like Joan, I carry it all over with me. Everywhere I go, I carry it. And I'll have my surgery in October, and then I'll be able to read it later. But um, what I wanted to say was my reaction to having to speak was it brought up the trauma of being told I wasn't good enough at day school. Like I was outspoken. I had always had an opinion that the nuns didn't like. And at one time, I really insulted one of them because she was miserable and mean. And I said, "Why don't you get married and leave us alone instead of taking it out on us?" And then I was in deep shit. I mean, excuse me.
That's okay.
I was in trouble. But that's another story. That brought up that trauma of being afraid to speak and to express my Anishinaabe spirit.
Mm.
But I'm I'm getting there. Not so much that I can still control my emotions, but to speak what I need to speak because I believe that all our knowledge is genetic. It's through our it's in our blood. It's in our mind and spirit and everything that I say it's not me, it's my ancestors
Mm.
that speak through me, and that my genes are the vehicle to transport this knowledge forever,
Mm.
forever, to generations past me, beyond me.
Mm.
One example is just something to do, like culturally. I had, I think, four geese to pull the feathers off, and I always thought I was really smarty. And I thought, I'll leave it for evening. For one evening, I had one evening to do them. So I made the fire, and I started on the first one. The first one took me an hour.
Mm.
And I thought, gee, it is hard work. So the second one, I got a panic slap from my mom. And she says, what did I teach you about plucking this goose? She says, pull the tail feathers first, and the rest of the feathers will come off.
What?
Easy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I heard my mom say.
Huh.
So I did start with the tail feathers first, and then I did the rest.
Huh.
I had to light a lamp, of course, the gas lamp, to finish the fourth one. But I
Okay.
was so happy
Hmm.
that my mom had come to my rescue.
Hmm. From the spirit world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she'd been gone
Yeah.
many, many years.
Yeah. Huh.
But
Beautiful.
she was just, her memory was so clear.
Huh.
How she sounded, how she talked,
Huh.
her energy,
Hmm.
her hands,
Mm.
everything,
Mm. Mm.
the power.
Mm. Mm. Did you? I would like you to speak Soto a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's get this in the man.
Well, Ginny can translate. I don't know.
Oh
Say whatever you want. She said,
no.
"What should I say? What should I talk about?"
Well,
Ginny can try, or I can
no,
try.
you can translate
Okay,
it.
I can try.
No. Okay. I didn't think I could do.
Oh.
Ang good to Marcus.
No.
Yes,
she was she was standing in the podium,
yeah.
and she introduced herself correctly. She said the words right, and she said that she was limited in her culture language, and she said, "The magazine is snappy." I'll always remember that.
Who is saying that, Mom?
Me, that they're laughing at me still because I said I was I was a pitiful human being, and it's now it translates to human being. But I was
Yeah.
so poor, and pitiful.
Yeah.
Huh. We've got a few minutes left, but I think what's happening is supposed to happen. So you,
Okay.
it's not in, huh?
Minagay.
Wow.
I sound like somebody I know. And
Love
this,
you. Bye bye.
and um, you know, Nikean.
She forgot.
Oh, I always tell the kids I'm 84. You know.
I know if it comes to you, interrupt us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
If Mom remembers, she'll interrupt us.
Okay.
The point being, I just wanted listeners to know that Mom is fluent in our language, and I've watched her recover that fluency. Like that's what Auntie Jenny said too, that I didn't say, that she almost lost it in the residential school. Like it was just about, like it, um, I can't remember the word for lost, but I can hear it in my head. That
Given
this,
it soon.
yeah,
Doing
yeah, she said, I almost lost it. And I've watched our mom, and we've all watched our mom as children reclaim it. It's like pulling in the boat, it had a long rope on it, and you're pulling it in. And that's how language recovery is for the our elders today, that were in the schools, and as they address the traumas, they can make another pull on that boat rope, eh? Helmach, let's give you the last 10 minutes or so here.
Okay. Well, this has been an awesome, beautiful, spiritual healing experience, and receiving the feedback on the work I did to write the book is very self-affirming. I just opened up and took the love in. I did have to, in doing this project and writing it to completion and publishing it, I did have to actually fight for my own space to do it, because it wasn't accepted by regular mainstream publishers. So that's why I ended up publishing it on Amazon. And it was really healing for me, because I too have had to work through so much to even be able to sit here and speak.
Mm.
I've had to do a lot of inner work, a lot of therapy, to self-determine that I'm worthy and I have a space in the circle. My voice does, I have a voice and can share it. So it's very, it's like the reason why I got to stay alive is one of the reasons is this. So I'm so grateful for that, And I do want to read this piece. Now I'm getting ready to do a talk, my first keynote speaker talk for a company that hired me. And that's going to happen on June 20th. And so I'm thinking more of this self-determination. And sometimes when I read this, it's like, did I really say that? But I try to make sense of my life and different things I've learned. And I know I've spent years in mainstream schooling it's just how my life went. And that's how I learned a lot. So I was looking on page 42, I've highlighted about self-determination, like understanding that self-determination. And my mentor, professor, who's Indigenous, she taught me about that. And so then here I wrote, the concept of self-determination must be included in the discourse on resiliency. It is through political, collective, and personal resistance to the ongoing colonial status and continuation of assimilation that Indigenous peoples can find strength and thus self-determination. Consistent resistance to colonial practices is inherent to furthering Indigenous wholeness and cultural pride. And those working with Indigenous peoples need to be aware of this reality. So, and I know I'm practicing for this keynote, and I say so a lot. So
Maybe use Shigwa.
Shigo. Yeah, Shigo. Let's see, I'm being taught something. Use Shigo. I can't stop saying it. As I speak, I am determining myself more and more. I am becoming braver and stronger. And I've also received feedback about the journaling piece. That's one of the uniquenesses of it, and that's the space I fought for us to be able to have something that talks about us as Indigenous people, where there's space for us to write to.
And that was
Go ahead.
no, and sorry to interrupt, but that was the uniqueness I loved about it. It was surprising and unexpected, and it was like, oh my gosh, like to really become emotionally connected by allowing that space.
Yeah. And part of my reason for journaling is one of my biggest healing tools, but part of it was the resistance to the understanding from stories being told and the punishment of not to write in our books.
Yeah. Right?
So that was part of my resistance. Write in your book. But yet I had to make peace with, I know I come from an oral history culture. That's, our history's passed down orally. And say it's okay to write. We have to write it down. So I had to make peace with that too. I went for several sessions of therapy as I was writing this book. like there were a few that happened because I, instead of having my breakdowns, I had my breakthroughs, right?
Oh, amen.
I just no, no. And my spirit kept saying, no, keep going, keep going. And actually I was asked, can you go and ask say McNally if they would sell it in their store? And I emailed them and they were like, no, we do not. The answer was no, because we don't offer books in our store that are published the way I published them on KDP Publishing with Amazon.
Hmm.
So it was a hard no. And I was like, okay. And I've learned that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. You're okay. We're all okay. I still love myself.
But
Right.
even that, Muck, that constant push to fit us into an existing structure, the publishing structure of the
Oh, yes.
magazine,
Very,
like
very.
that. No, you do it this way, and you do it this way, or we won't sell your books for you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that the bookstores are complicit in that. Like, I don't know if I'm going to shop at McNally anymore. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they need to look at. They should have looked at the fact that you were an Indigenous author, an Indigenous woman author. You know,
Did you
and
attempt to get published through them?
No, I didn't. I did a couple, and then I just, Roxanne, I just like, you know what? I'm the part of my little resistance. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what?
no, I
I'm just
understand. Yeah.
following my little girl wants this work done, and I'm healing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do
well,
this.
what they told, I remember you sharing that what the mainstream publishing, I don't know, you could tell us where you went to try to get it published. They told her, no, you have to do one or the other. You have to do a memoir or a self-help book.
Yeah.
And it was about the space that you welcomed, Roxanne, that you were pleasantly surprised to
Yeah,
be invited to
exactly.
engage.
That's
That
what I loved about it. Yeah.
they,
Or
Yeah.
so
one of
And
the things.
they wanted me to do chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter
And
4. I'm like, no.
that's why I liked how you set it up with the directions. Yeah.
yeah, very nice. Yeah, the book is structured, for those of you listening, the book is structured in the structure of the medicine wheel, east, west,
Yep.
like east, south,
North,
west, and north.
west,
Yeah,
north. Yeah. Yeah.
of her life,
Yeah.
Yes.
so very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Miigwech, it has a life of its own. I appreciate all the support. Yeah, and to just it's
Well, for sure. And I think that this just in closing, like the we didn't even get to talking to what's in the book, talking about what's in the book. We just got talking about the structure and how the structure itself is a resistance, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and that's so wonderful. And
Mhm.
you created that space for your voice, which means you've created it for my voice.
Mm.
Yes. And that was the pleasant surprise I talked about. And you gave it away, which is fine. But the fact that you can actually participate
Yes.
in what was written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? How do
Yeah,
you feel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, that's enough for today, I guess.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is we always close Brave Indigenous Conversations with Joan Jack podcast by featuring earrings because life
Oh,
is.
yes.
Oh, Mom wants to talk now. Okay,
Oh,
we got 3 minutes.
Okay. Put the
Finish
timer
now.
on. Jenny, I want to thank you for being the surrogate mom,
No.
because you've always been there for my children, and I appreciate it. I've never told you, maybe
Mhm.
have, but I do appreciate you. Of course, I was jealous. I'll admit that. Who can step into my shoes? How dare she? Now, like, I love you, and I love it when you're with my son or Lonnie or anybody, any of the kids,
Mhm.
because I can always say, if you go first, I'll write your eulogy, and if I go next before you, you write my eulogy. And mine will say she was always my friend because she knew too much.
Awesome. So, we like to feature the earrings and the creations of our Indigenous men and women. Not all earrings are created by women, but Roxanne's going to show us the earrings she's wearing, and then Annette's going to show us the earrings she's wearing.
These are they're little globes.
We're
Oh,
live. Yeah.
Sorry.
I
They
can.
and they
Yeah.
contain the 4 medicines.
oh,
And my daughter-in-law made them. And you
Oh.
can find her on Facebook. Her name is Stacy Desjardins.
time
And you can
it's
find it might be easier to find her through me.
okay.
And so just inbox me or on my wall or
How do you
something.
spell her last name?
Desjardins.
Okay. So
That's
I'll
actually
shoot.
my married name, like Desjardins. And so
Okay.
my kids are Desjardins. And so she's my
Okay.
daughter-in-law. And her name is Stacy, Stacy.
Okay.
And she does beautiful work. She's a hunter, and this is one of her earrings, but she also hunts regularly, fishes. It's beautiful, the life they live. They have a garden, etc. And the meat she harvests, the deer, the horns, the male deer horns. Only males have horns. She makes earrings. So
Nice.
beautiful antler earrings.
Cool.
And she's been making me buttons. You're going to
Mm.
see on my fashions and designs coming up. So find her if you can. If not, contact me.
We'll find her. Jeff will
Yeah.
find her, and he'll put the link in the comments to her Facebook for people.
Good. Yeah, because she's got a lot of stuff. She does vinyl and all kinds of things.
Oh.
So yeah, that's how to find her.
Awesome. How can stomach?
Oh, okay. These are Allie Henry's creation.
We can't really see them. Can you take it out of your ear? No. And hold it on the camera.
Ooh, I love those.
See the heart?
The heart, eh? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Your life, the heart.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And these are made by Allie Henry, and they're our relative Kathy Belanger Bud's daughter's earrings. I think that's
Okay.
those. So I'm
Beautiful.
going to follow the posts on Facebook and the crafts and
Uh-huh.
order.
Did you have earrings too, Auntie Ginny?
Ran and got a pair.
Okay. Show her where the camera is, Muck.
Where is it?
Up.
There
There we
go.
go. Yeah, a little bit closer. Oh, more the other way. Yeah, up now.
I'm directionally challenged. There it is. Oh, no, this way. There.
Oh, little
Those are
turtles.
sweet.
I got those from my daughter-in-law.
Oh,
Wonder where she
beautiful.
that's
bought
my
them from. Who made them? You
I
don't know?
no, I don't know.
Oh,
I'd
okay.
have to ask her.
That's your.
Mhm. Beautiful. Okay. Well,
Thank
I
you very much.
we'll call it a wrap. I'm going to stop broadcasting, and then we'll all say goodbye to each other off air. Nee. Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to share.
Gigawap min minawapi.
Ah, amigo.
Minuapi.
I'll see you again sometime.
Take care, all.
Okay.